Welcome back to Bookkast, where you get bestsellers in minutes.
Oh, yeah?
Today, we're diving into Bill Gates' memoir,
Okay.
Source Code.
Oh, right.
You know, we all know him as this tech giant and philanthropist, but his story goes way deeper than lines of code, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, what I found really fascinating was how he uses the memoir to sort of demystify himself.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just this robotic genius that appeared out of thin air.
Right.
He really walks us through all the people and experiences that shaped him.
Right.
And it's surprisingly relatable.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think billionaire tech genius and relatable would be in the same sentence.
Right.
But here we are.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he even talks about how his family would play these, like, intense card games.
Oh, wow.
Not just for fun, but to really outsmart each other.
Okay, interesting.
His grandmother especially was a card shark.
Oh, really?
Sounds like a killer warm-up for the cutthroat world of tech, don't you think?
It's like foreshadowing, almost.
Yeah.
Competitive streak, always strategizing, wanting to come out on top.
Right.
You see it later in his business decisions, you know.
Yeah.
Tough negotiations, even those coding marathons he pulled.
Totally. And, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't all about competition.
Right.
He also talks about his mom,
Uh-huh.
who was really involved in the community.
Okay.
A real go-getter. Makes you wonder if that's kind of where his philanthropy comes from later on.
Oh, for sure. And his dad was a lawyer.
Okay.
Super rational, you know, always emphasizing logic and clear thinking.
Classic Bill Gates.
Classic Bill Gates.
Breaking down these big problems into smaller steps.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got this family dynamic, right? That's shaping young Bill. And then comes Lakeside School.
Okay.
And this is where things get really interesting.
All right.
They had this time-shared computer. So basically multiple people could use this really powerful computer.
Oh, wow.
And Gates was hooked.
Like giving a kid the keys to the candy store.
Yeah.
Except the candy is knowledge and the ability to create.
Exactly.
Just absorbing it all, you know?
Yeah.
He talks about this project he did, all about the state of Delaware.
Oh, yeah?
Just took in tons of information. It's like a mini version of how he tackled those complex tech challenges later on.
It's amazing. And that's where his coding partnership with Paul Allen really takes off too, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Spending all their free time in the computer lab,
Right.
pushing each other, learning, experimenting.
Totally. Like a classic garage band story.
Totally.
But with code instead of guitars.
Right.
And they weren't always angels either.
Oh, no.
Even sneaking out to use computers at night.
Really?
But you can really see that passion igniting, can't you?
Oh, for sure.
The way they were pushing the boundaries of what was possible with this new technology.
Yeah.
But, you know, it wasn't all sunshine and roses.
Right.
He talks about being bullied,
Uh-huh.
feeling awkward socially. But it makes you realize that even someone like Bill Gates faced those teenage struggles.
It's true. And it almost seems like those challenges kind of fueled his drive to excel intellectually.
Yeah.
You know, he found his own way to stand out, not through, you know, being athletic or popular, but through his intellect, his ability to create with code.
Absolutely. And there's this fascinating part where he talks about finding a true kindred spirit
Okay.
in this classmate named Kent Evans.
Uh-huh.
They were both brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
intensely focused on computers.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even geniuses need that connection.
Right.
That sense of belonging.
Yeah.
They weren't just coding machines. They were
Yeah.
teenagers figuring out life, their
Sorry.
place in the world.
Yeah.
But then, you know, tragedy strikes. Kent dies in a mountain climbing accident.
That's awful.
Devastating blow to Gates.
Yeah, you can really feel the impact of this loss on him.
Absolutely.
It's heartbreaking, but it also seems to strengthen his resolve to carry on this passion for computing.
Yeah.
It's like he's carrying the torch for both of them now.
It's almost like a turning point in the book, you know?
Yeah.
He channels that grief into his work, pours himself into projects like the Lakeside Scheduling Program,
Right.
which really showcases his talent
Yeah.
and ambition.
And they even land their first real-world software project
Wow.
with this company called ICEYE.
Okay.
It's not glamorous, but it's a crash course in the real world of business, isn't it?
Absolutely. They learn about contracts, dealing with clients,
Right.
all those messy realities that come with turning code into a product.
Yeah, a far cry from those idealistic late-night coding sessions.
Yeah, but valuable experience,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Sets the stage for what's to come.
So we've got this young Bill Gates, shaped by his family,
Mm.
discovering this passion for coding,
Mm-hmm.
going through the ups and downs of teenage life. And then comes Harvard.
Okay.
You'd think that's when the genius story kicks into high gear.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But even at Harvard,
Yep.
there are surprises.
What do you mean?
He's not just coasting on his talent, you know?
Right.
He's challenging himself with ridiculously difficult courses,
Like what?
like Math 55,
Oh, wow.
which is notorious for weeding out even the brightest students.
So even Bill Gates found a class tough.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It is. It makes me feel a little better about my own struggles.
Right.
But it shows that he wasn't afraid to push himself.
Exactly.
To be surrounded by people who were even smarter than him.
Yeah, he wanted to learn, to grow, to test his limits.
He also talks about Professor Cheatham, the head of the computer lab.
Oh, right.
Cheatham didn't intentionally set out to be a mentor to Gates,
Okay.
but he ends up playing a crucial role.
That's so interesting about mentorship. Sometimes it comes from the most unexpected places.
Right. Cheatham granted Gates access to the PDP-10, which was basically a supercomputer at the time.
Really?
It became Gates' playground, a place to experiment and push the boundaries of his coding skills.
It's crazy to think that even someone like Bill Gates needed that support.
I know, right?
That encouragement.
It makes you realize that we all need those people who believe in us,
Absolutely.
who give us the space to explore and grow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all just coding.
Right?
Gates talks about playing poker, even experimenting with LSD,
Oh, wow.
which was, kind of a thing in the 70s. It shows a different side of him, a willingness to take risks.
Yeah, to explore different ways of thinking.
Totally. It reminds you that he's not just this one-dimensional takey. He's got this intellectual curiosity,
Yeah.
this desire to push boundaries, even if it means going outside his comfort zone.
And that's what leads to the big decision.
Yeah.
Leaving Harvard to start Microsoft.
That had to be a huge leap of faith.
Yeah, right?
Leaving Harvard to chase this dream of personal computers taking over the world.
Can you imagine explaining that to your parents?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, Mom, Dad, I'm dropping out of Harvard to start a computer company.
Right.
Trust me, it's going to be big.
They must have thought he was crazy.
But it speaks to his conviction, his belief that this personal computer revolution was happening now.
Right.
And he didn't want to miss out.
Yeah.
He was willing to bet everything on this vision. And it's that boldness that really sets him apart.
So Microsoft is born.
Yeah.
The rest, as they say, is history.
Right.
But it wasn't an easy road, was it?
No, not at all.
The early days were a roller coaster
Oh, yeah.
of challenges, from technical hurdles to financial constraints to navigating this brand new industry.
It's a whole other story for another time.
Exactly.
Picking up where we left off, you got to remember that the personal computer market back then, practically non-existent.
Right.
They were basically creating an industry from scratch.
It's wild to think about, explaining to someone today that
I know.
computers wouldn't always be in everyone's pocket or on their desk.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't this guaranteed path to riches or anything. It was a gamble, a leap into the unknown.
Totally. And those early days in Albuquerque,
Oh, yeah.
talk about a far cry from the gleaming Microsoft campus we see today.
I know, right?
They were working out of this tiny office, facing all sorts of obstacles.
He talks about those early challenges, actually, with a surprising amount of candor. Yeah.
Interesting.
He's really open about, the financial struggles, the technical roadblocks they faced, even those moments where he butted heads with colleagues.
Like that clash with Ed Roberts
Oh, yeah.
over the faulty Altair memory boards.
That's a prime example.
You have Ed Roberts, the guy who basically brought the Altair to life.
Right.
The world's first commercially successful personal computer.
Yeah.
And Gates is telling him, you can't sell these, they're flawed.
Oh, wow. You can just imagine the tension.
Yeah.
Roberts is under so much pressure to deliver.
Right.
And Gates, young and driven, is refusing to compromise on quality.
And then there's that open letter to hobbyists.
Oh, right.
Which some saw as bold, others as arrogant.
It definitely shows that competitive streak we were talking about, but it also highlights his technical expertise.
Right. He wasn't just some business whiz.
Right.
He knew his code.
He knew what he was doing.
Inside and out.
Yeah.
And understood the consequences of releasing a flawed product.
It's interesting how that foreshadows those battles that came later over software quality and intellectual property,
That came to define the industry.
Yeah.
It also shows that he was thinking beyond just basic.
Right.
The programming language that was, their bread and butter.
Exactly.
At the time.
He had this grander vision, didn't he?
What do you mean?
For Microsoft, yeah.
Okay.
He saw this future where software would be the driving force behind personal computing, encompassing everything from operating systems to applications to tools for developers.
That's amazing. It's that forward-thinking approach, that ability to see the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
That sets them apart.
It really does.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing, though, right?
No.
Building a company from scratch is never easy.
Nope.
And they were navigating uncharted territory.
Bums in the road, for sure.
Yeah.
They were constantly learning, adapting, making these tough decisions under pressure.
What kind of things did they have to deal with?
Oh, financial constraints, the threat of competition, the legal complexities of a brand new industry.
And let's not forget that legal battle with MITS.
Oh, right.
Over software licensing?
Yeah, that must have been stressful.
What happened there?
Well, MITS, they were facing financial troubles.
Okay.
Got acquired by another company, Pertec.
Right.
And Pertec tried to claim ownership of the software that Microsoft had developed for the Altair.
So they were trying to take away the very foundation of Microsoft's business.
It was a huge gamble on their part.
Yeah.
Could have easily backfired. But Gates, he was determined to fight for what he believed was rightfully theirs. He saw it as a matter of principle.
Right.
A battle for the future of software itself.
So how did it play out?
Lots of legal back and forth,
Yeah.
late nights, poring over contracts, I imagine.
Bet.
Probably some sleepless nights for Gates and Allen.
Yeah.
But ultimately, an arbitrator ruled in Microsoft's favor.
Oh, wow.
Secured their ownership of the software.
That's huge.
And it set a precedent for the future of software licensing.
That's amazing.
It was a defining moment.
Yeah.
Not only did it solidify their position, but it also gave them the freedom to keep developing and marketing their software without being beholden to IFS or Pertec.
Okay, so Microsoft is on the rise. They've won this crucial legal battle. But what about Bill Gates, the person?
Yeah.
He's still a young guy at this point, barely in his 20s.
He was going through a lot of personal growth during this time.
In what way?
Well, learning how to be a leader.
Yeah.
How to make tough decisions.
Right.
How to balance his ambition with the need to build a strong team.
It's refreshing to see that even someone like Bill Gates had those growing pains.
It makes him seem a bit more human, doesn't it?
It really does.
He's brilliant, driven, clearly a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
But he's also capable of making mistakes.
Yeah.
Learning from them.
Right.
Evolving as a leader.
It's something we can all relate to.
It's inspiring in a way.
Yeah.
It shows that even with all his talent, success didn't come easy.
He had to work for it.
He did.
Take risks.
Yeah.
And persevere through those challenges.
And let's not forget, he wasn't doing it alone.
Right. Paul Allen was there.
He had Paul Allen by his side.
Yeah.
A true partner.
Their relationship was pretty complex, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. There were friends, collaborators, and rivals all rolled into one.
Yeah.
There were moments of friction, disagreements, even clashes of ego.
Makes you wonder how different things might have been if they hadn't had that shared history.
Right.
That bond's going back to their Lakeside days.
Exactly.
Would they have achieved the same level of success?
It's hard to say, but I think it's safe to say that their partnership was key to Microsoft's early success, Right. They balanced each other out, challenged each other, ultimately pushed each other to be better.
So then comes the move back to Seattle.
Right.
Was that purely a business decision?
Well, there were practical reasons, of course.
Like what?
Seattle had a grading pool of tech talent.
Okay.
It was closer to their families.
Right.
And it offered a quality of life that was hard to beat.
Yeah, but I feel like there was something more to it than that.
Yeah, I think there was a sense of coming home, reconnecting with their roots, building something special in the place where it all began.
It's a nice touch, considering their journey started in Seattle.
Right.
With those early coding experiences at Lakeside School.
Full circle.
It really does bring the story full circle.
It highlights the importance of community, too.
Yeah.
And the role it plays in shaping our aspirations and our sense of belonging.
Gates talks about how his parents instilled in him this strong sense of community.
Right.
A belief in giving back.
Yeah.
And making a difference.
And his mother especially was deeply involved in philanthropy.
It makes you wonder how much of an influence that had on his later work.
Yeah, I think it played a significant role.
Right.
It wasn't just about making money for him.
Right.
It was about using that wealth to create a positive impact, that sense of responsibility, of using your success to make a difference.
Right.
Seems to have been ingrained in him from an early age.
So here we have Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Tech genius, savvy businessman. And someone was starting to think about the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Where do we go from here?
Oh, there's still so much to uncover.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The rise of the IBM PC,
Yeah.
the development of Windows, the battles with Apple,
Wow.
the antitrust lawsuits.
Oh, right.
And, of course, his eventual transition to philanthropy.
It's all part of the Bill Gates story.
It is.
We'll delve into all of that next time. Okay, we're back. Ready to wrap up our Bill Gates deep dive with source code.
Let's do it.
So we've seen him go from coding whiz kid to Harvard dropout.
Yeah.
To like this fierce entrepreneur.
Right.
But as we get deeper into Microsoft's rise, it seems like he really starts wrestling with his own legacy.
It comes through really strongly in the book.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about market share or beating the competition anymore. He's thinking about the impact Microsoft's having.
Yeah.
On the world, the responsibility that comes with that power.
And he doesn't shy away from those tough moments either.
No, not at all.
Remember that open letter to hobbyists?
Oh, yeah.
It's practically legendary now.
For how much debate it's sparked.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how opinions have changed.
Right.
Back then, paying for software was a radical idea.
I know.
Today, it's the norm.
Totally. But at the time, Gates was fiercely protective
Oh, he was.
of intellectual property.
Yeah.
And he came across as like, well, a little harsh.
He did ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
But he had a point, though, didn't he?
He did. I mean, software development's hard work.
It is.
And the people who create it should be compensated.
That's
like
right.
any other creative field.
Exactly. And it's easy to forget that Gates was fighting for a whole new way of thinking about software.
What do you mean?
He saw it as a product, a valuable asset.
Okay.
Not just some code to be shared for free.
But even with all that drive and intensity,
Yeah,
he does admit to making mistakes,
he does.
especially in those early days
Yeah.
of managing Microsoft.
Yeah. He talks about learning to delegate, to trust his team, to let go of that need to control everything.
I can imagine that's hard.
Oh, it is. It's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with,
Yeah.
especially those who are so passionate
Right.
about their work.
It's humanizing.
It is, isn't it?
It makes him seem less like this infallible tech god
Right.
and more like a guy figuring things out as he goes.
Yeah, making adjustments, trying to build a company
Yeah.
that could thrive in this,
Crazy.
ever-changing industry.
Exactly.
And through it all,
Yeah.
there are these moments of reflection,
hmm
these glimpses into his personal life
Yeah.
that make him so much more relatable. They do. Like when he talks about the death of his friend Kent Evans,
Right.
it's clear that loss really stayed with him.
It did shape his perspective on life. It's a reminder that even amidst all the success and ambition, there are these deeply personal moments
Yeah.
that ground us, that remind us what really matters.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how that experience influenced his philanthropy.
Yeah.
Did it push him to want to make a difference?
I think it's a question worth considering. He
Yeah.
doesn't connect those dots specifically in the book,
Right.
but you feel that weight, that sense of purpose. It instilled in him.
And it wasn't just about philanthropy.
Right.
He also talks about his marriage to Melinda, the challenges of balancing family life with, running a global company.
It's a struggle a lot of successful people face.
It is.
He's surprisingly candid about the toll it took,
Yeah.
the sacrifices.
It shows that even someone like Bill Gates, with all his wealth and success,
Yeah,
faces those same universal challenges.
right. We're all human,
Yeah.
just trying to find our way.
And through it all, he never lost sight of that core belief.
In the power of technology.
Yeah, he talks about the early days of Windows, that intense competition with Apple.
Yeah, the vision of putting a computer on every desk,
Right.
in every home.
And he wasn't just some figurehead
Right.
sitting in an ivory tower.
No, he was in the trenches.
Yeah, deeply involved.
Pushing his team
Yeah,
to innovate, to create products that were not only functional,
right.
but also elegant and intuitive.
It's that mix of vision, technical expertise, and business smarts
Yeah,
that really sets him apart.
it does.
He wasn't just a dreamer, he was a doer.
Yeah,
Someone who wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty.
absolutely.
And of course, we can't talk about Bill Gates
Right.
without mentioning the antitrust lawsuits.
Those were pretty tumultuous times.
What was it like for Microsoft?
It's interesting to see how he looks back on it now.
Yeah.
The lessons he learned about competition, the challenges of dealing with government regulation.
It reminds you that even the most successful companies
Yeah,
aren't immune to scrutiny.
right.
That there's a constant need to adapt.
To evolve.
And for Gates, that evolution led him away
From Microsoft.
from the day-to-day
Yeah.
and towards philanthropy.
Yeah, remarkable, isn't it?
How he was able to make that transition.
From tech titan to global philanthropist.
Yeah, using his wealth and influence.
Yeah, to tackle these huge global problems.
It really is a testament to his curiosity, his willingness to learn.
Absolutely, and his belief in human ingenuity to solve problems.
So as we wrap up this Bookkast deep dive into source code, what are your key takeaways?
For me, it's the reminder that even the most iconic figures are human with their own flaws, their own struggles, their own doubts.
Totally.
Gates's story isn't some fairy tale.
Right.
It's a story of hard work, resilience, and learning from your mistakes.
And it's not just about building a company or making money.
No, it's about finding your purpose.
Right. Making a difference.
Leaving a legacy that goes beyond just your achievements.